This is Chris at handfuloftranquility.com. Today I'm going to be taking a quick look at what I have for my canning supplies and my canning kits, because tomorrow I'm going to be doing a little bit of chicken breast canning. My family loves canned chicken breast because it's easy to make a quick meal. You can just pop it open and mix it with something for some flavor and have a meal in 5 minutes if you want. So let's take a look at what I have. Alright, so we'll start with the canner I got first. I got this Presto 12 quart off of, I think, eBay for around $30 shipped, because it was only about 60 miles from my house or so, so shipping wasn't too bad on it. One reason I really like it is because it has this 3-in-1 weight. It has 3 different holes for 5, 10, and 15 pounds of pressure. The downside is this is quite a loud rattler. It's pretty nice to be able to cook inside it on 5 pounds, use 10 pounds if you're below 1,000 feet in altitude, or have the 15-pound option, all with one weight. And it's also pretty universal as well. There's a lot of these old Miro canners. Had to reference my Presto one. This is the Miro, this is Presto. I really like this. 12 quarts is large enough that you can fit in quart jars. A little rattly. You can fit in 7 quart jars. I think you can fit in 8 pints in here, maybe 9, something along those lines. But you can only single stack. So then I wanted something a little bit bigger so that I could get a little bit more production. If you only need 7 quarts at a time, this is fine, works dandy. It's a good option to have because there's less water and less mass. So if I'm doing just a few pints, or quarts rather, if I'm just doing quarts, then I will go ahead and use this one. But I want something bigger so I could get a bunch of pints out. Pints are just the perfect size for our family for chicken breast. I can fit I put just shy of a pound in each pint jar, because it's just about perfect for what we need right now. As the kids get bigger, then we might start moving up to quarts. But for now, pints are great. So, I then moved on to this, it's a National 7A, 7B, something like that. It's a 22, 23 quart, something along those lines. And actually, originally, this vent was not here. I bought this as a replacement. It's actually for these Miro canners. I believe these are all, most of these things are tapped the same. I'm guessing it's 1/8 inch national pipe threads, but I haven't confirmed that. But I did confirm that these were the same thread sizes. Originally, this was a pressure gauge, and you could use this little vent to let pressure out. I'm not a fan of that. It's not very safe. You have to keep a constant eye on it, and if it starts getting too hot or too cold, then you either can blow up your canner if it's too hot, and that's why they have a safety or overpressure release in them back here, right here on this one. And if it's too cold, you don't necessarily kill the botulism spores, which is why you pressure can in the first place. So I replaced it to use the same weight as my Miro canner. So that's what this one is now, and for a while I actually had this off and I had the dial gauge on there just for reference, but I like this vent, so I left the vent on there. This canner is pushing 70 or 80 years old. I believe it was in the 20s or 30s. I actually have the manual that came with it, and most of the recipes are the same as what they are today, because I have a modern manual as well. I wasn't going to trust a 70 or 80 year old manual because they didn't have the technology for measurement that we do now. It did had a really old gasket. I had to replace it. Online I found that the just National Model 7 gasket fitted, so I went ahead and got a couple of those. One thing that I really like about this canner is that it came with this wire basket, which is really handy for being able to take out a bunch of jars at once. And then, so I can layer in about 8 or so pint jars in there, put an additional separator plate in, and put another 8 jars and get a total of 16. It might even be 18 that I can get in there at once. So I like these 22 quart, 23 quart models because you can really get a lot of production out of them. You can get a 16 quart. I don't really know what they do. Maybe they allow you to use half gallon, but they don't double stack pints. I guess you could probably double stack half pints if you're doing jam and jelly. Other than that, I don't really see the point, so I don't intend on ever owning one unless I come by a really good deal. Speaking of which, this Presto canner I got, I think, on Craigslist for about $15 if I remember right. And in that price, I also got about 3 dozen jars. So, phenomenal deal. What I really like about it, I only got one weight. I don't know if they come with more or less, but I only got this 15-pound weight. You also have this pressure gauge so you can verify which weight you're at and how close you are. But what I really like about it is this is just a gentle swishing sound instead of which is the sound that the Miros make. I might be able to show that tomorrow in the canning. You can kind of see how loud the Miros are in my bean canning video. But I really like this canner. It's really quiet. It has this locking mechanism that actually pops up when there's pressure and prevents you from opening it if there's pressure. I don't find it to be real super necessary. I'm smart enough to not open it until the pressure gauge reads 0, seeing as it has a pressure gauge. On this one, I leave the vent open. Once everything's gone, all the pressure, I leave the vent open. And I actually have one more canner that is not here. I will have to add a picture of it probably right here as I'm talking. But it's a little 4 or 6 quart Miro pressure canner, or pressure cooker actually. It uses the same little 3-way weight. I originally bought it because I needed an extra 3-way weight since I have 2 canners. It's at a garage sale for $5, and that's less than what just these cost online. And the reason it was so cheap was someone had almost blown it up. They blew out the safety fuse, so I had to replace that, which cost me $4 or $5 online. And it had a bunch of crud in the bottom, with a slightly bowed out bottom. Not a big deal, but clearly the vent hole got plugged up on it. So anyway, I love that one because I can can 4 pints is about all that fits in it. It's great for small batches because it gets up to temperature really quickly. And the last thing about my kit is I keep everything in this toolbox. So when things aren't in use, I keep my weight in here. I have a spare gasket for this canner since they're kind of hard to come by. I have all my lids. I have both wide mouth and normal lids in here. Underneath is actually where I keep all my rings and my reference material. It's really handy to have everything right here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing what I have as my personal kit. I don't know if I will get rid of this canner or not. I like the fact that it's just so old. I really like the basket that's in it, but I will probably be using this more and more. I love the little swishing sound, or how quiet the swishing is. I just wish I had a 10-pound weight so I wasn't overcooking things when I'm below 1,000 feet in altitude. But it's still safe to can at 15 pounds instead of 10 pounds. But it's unnecessary at times. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully tomorrow I will be getting some videos as I can some chicken breast.